Hi, I'm Christopher Hurst, and this is my persuasive speech. Contrary to popular belief, being monolingual, or only knowing one language, is actually in minority as opposed to the rest of the world. And studies have shown that 60 to 75% of the world is bilingual. So this is just a couple countries in Europe, and you can see that all of them are above 50% bilingual, and most of them are much above 55% bilingual, 50% bilingual. That just shows that most of the rest of the world is bilingual as opposed to much of America that is honestly kind of seen as an exception. On a similar topic, raising a child, choosing how to raise a child is a really important decision, and choosing to raise a bilingual child is equally as important, another important decision that you should be well informed about. Being bilingual from childhood can have lifelong benefits and can help them to be more well-rounded and just a better person overall. I myself have often wondered what it would be like if I was bilingual or how I would benefit from that. And I've researched it a little bit, and I hope that I can give you enough information today to help you make the right decision, a good decision. Today we're just going to talk about first we're just going to discuss how you can get started as a parent in helping a child, raising a bilingual child, and then we're just going to talk about all the rest of the stuff that has to do with bilingual children. Learning language as a child, it's better to learn language as a child because there's more cohesion and it's more conducive to learn it as a child. Interesting fact, babies are able to distinguish their mother's language before they're born. And actually, when they're born, they can distinguish between different languages just because of their mother talking so much while they were in the womb. And by the time that they're 11 months old, babies are already accustomed to the native tongue or tongues that are spoken at home by their caregivers that they hear all the time. Little tidbit about language. Of all the languages in the world, they only make up about 800 different sounds or phonemes, which are the most basic form of language. So these are just a couple phonemes that are in the English language. Each language uses about 40 different phonemes to go along and make up their words and their language and stuff. An interesting thing about the baby brain is that it's able to distinguish between every single phoneme and able to hear every single difference in the phonemes. But after a year, once they reach about 1 year old, they begin to specialize in whatever phonemes or languages that they've been hearing, at home or around them, their entire life. And so they begin to lose the ability to hear the differences in foreign phonemes or in foreign languages. They lose the ability to hear that, the differences in the sounds and things like that, how to pronounce them. So that's just a little bit about bilingualism and why it's better for babies to learn it instead of teaching it in adulthood. Even though you can learn a language at any time in your lifetime, you can learn it even when you are an adult. It's better to teach it to a baby, and there's benefits throughout the entire lifetime that you can learn even from childhood. Practical benefits. One would be that it makes you more competitive in the job place, just because many companies are international, and they would love employees that would be able to communicate to their international customers and things like that. And it also just makes you more valuable to be able to communicate with more people. It's a lot easier to switch career paths if you're bilingual, and it opens up many jobs that would not be open to you if you weren't, if you only knew one language. For instance, a translator. Translating is one of the top fastest growing jobs in America, and you have to know more than one language in order to be able to do this. According to BBC, there are multiple studies over the past decade that have showed that bilinguals are more effective at showing empathy towards others and just being able to relate towards others because of how they're able to focus on others' emotions. And another study showed that bilinguals, when compared to monolingual children, are more proficient at problem solving and creativity tasks just because of how much their brain has to work differentiating between the two languages. So that was just a little bit about how bilingualism can help you. But it's honestly really simple to get started as a parent. It may seem kind of daunting, but it's really simple to get started. So for parents that are monolingual, it's better to choose a language that's around you, as in like in TV or just around the neighborhood, or spoken at school, something that the kids would hear more often. So it's better. These are just a couple the most popular languages in America besides English. So Spanish is the most, and then French and German, and a couple others. But it's better to try to teach your child a language that is more common, just so that they would hear it more often, even though you might not speak it at home. And learning phonemes early in these languages is really important, because it helps them to be able to become fluent in the language later, because they have access to those phonemes. It's better, they learn the most if it's used fluently in their environment, just in a conversation. Even something as simple as having a bilingual babysitter talk to them in only the second language just would help them with their comprehension so much later in life. For a parent or parents that are bilingual, it's better usually if one parent talks to the child in one language and the other parent talks to the other child in the other language, just because it helps the child to see the full, to know the full language of each language, not just get bits and parts of each, Also, it's really important to not underestimate the child. It may seem like they might not have as big of a vocabulary as monolingual children, but when you combine what they know in both languages, it's usually more than their monolingual peers. So today we just talked about why it's better to teach a child a second language instead of learning it and waiting as an adult. And then we talked about some practical applications that you can have because of being bilingual. And then we just talked about how you can take this first step as a parent to help your child become bilingual. And so, being bilingual has so many different benefits. It can help you throughout your lifetime, even in childhood and on to adulthood. And I pray that you would make the right decision, and I hope this information has helped you to become more informed about this topic, and hopefully you can make the right decision about it. Thank you.